So again, we began with Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. So we have a panel discussion, but technically it's more of a dialogue. We have a dialogue with our brothers here. We've asked them to kind of share some thoughts and insights on the definition or defining the legacy of Imam Muhammad. Both the gentlemen have had worked simply with Imam Muhammad, so hopefully get some first perspective, if you will, on that particular topic. But like I said, it's a dialogue, so feel free to provide your comments and questions. There's a microphone right here if you want to come up and raise your questions. All I ask is that you use the microphone or wait till the microphone get to you so that we can ensure that your voice is heard on the recording for dissemination. So, what's that? Oh yeah, and keep your comments to a minimum.
No, I said it's just cool, but I didn't say fair enough. I'm at home, okay, so that's how.
Sometimes they go hand in hand. But to the man's point, we're just hoopla. So the question was posed to them: how would you define the legacy of the Muhammad? And we'll start off with my left, and then have them create comments, and then entertain questions as it kicks off from their respective comments. All right,
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسل محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. And I could say that that is the last emphasis of Imam W.D. Muhammad, and I pass the mic. But it's a delight, alhamdulillah, to be with brothers, sisters, friends, and others who have saw fit to change their schedule, to plan into their schedule this particular kind of session with us. So, getting directly to the emphasis of the statement on the request, and we are kind of like mentioning things like what was my last emphasis, what was emphasized upon me as a student, as a servant of Allah, but as a student of Imam Wali Muhammad. The thing that hits me first is, and I keep it close to the chest, is his name. His name was a signal for me to realize what was going on with us and what had happened. I already had figured out what had happened to us in America. But what would become of us in these United States of America? How would we fare? You know, how would we stabilize ourselves, and how would we know the past but be able to establish ourselves and move forward? So his name opened up a world for me as a personal student of his, and that is, how were we going to inherit this situation, this thing? So what were we inheriting? We were inheriting two things from my perspective. Inheriting number one, we were inheriting an enormous problem for us as race, as a people. But at the same time, we were inheriting an innate quality, an ability for us to, using a very old term we used to use, for us to tune in on who we are as an authentic person. Who am I as an authentic person? And so, knowing that the Rasulullah was saying, and he had said, that every baby that's born is born a Muslim, then we studied, and the Imam pointed us in this direction. Look at Muhammad. After you have taken your Shahada, some of you are second and third generation Muslims, but some of us here are first generation Muslims after the very traumatic life as ancestors, ex-slaves, and us being descendants of those slaves and having a closer relationship with that influence. So we inherited that problem, and the way that we handle the problem is to look to leadership. And that's what we were taught to do, and this is what we enjoy doing. I like to say that most of it, from my perspective, most of Imam W.D. Muhammad's deep knowledge, his deep emphasis, his deep hikmah, wisdom, and whatever you want to call it, most of it came after his lectures. When he would lecture at one place, then we would go with him to the restaurant. And in the restaurant, on this place or that place, then he would really unload some stuff on us. And I asked him one day, he said, I asked him, this was in Dallas, Texas, I said, Imam Muhammad, what do you expect for us to do with all of this wisdom, all of this knowledge, all of this understanding? He said, well, Allah gave it to me, and He wanted me to give it to you all, and He wanted you all to look at it because you have time to look at it and to decipher what I am giving you, because He said, I'm moving. That's what He told us at the table. Allah has me, I'm where I am, I'm moving. I'm on a track that I have to stay on. And He said that you all, your responsibility is to get this information, organize this information like Brother Ronald Shaheed did, and put it in a form or a state where you understand it first and then give it to the people. And so the emphasis, the last emphasis, I won't say his final legacy, but I will say the last emphasis that I was really impacted with was the model community life. Model community life. That's what stuck with me. That's what's with me right now. And I think for most of the students of Imam W.D. Muhammad, this will resonate on all of us in a certain type of way. So, what was that model community? The model community was the 4 areas that he instructed us to put emphasis on. And then since it's a dialogue, alhamdulillah, then I can point to you and ask you, I'm going to turn it into a ta'aleem or something. And what are those 4 areas? Then I'll stop talking. Okay, so what are those 4 areas? Number 1, business. You see what's on her mind. Number 2, government/politics, okay. 3, not necessarily in this order. Culture. Okay, so what was number 1? Education. Yeah, education. So from these foundations, not surface-wise, but in-depth-wise, he gave us these 4, and we can deal with a lot of things with that 4 and all of that, but we're not flying out, and we're already out here, so we don't need to fly out here anymore. Those areas represent foundations for us to stabilize ourselves in developing the basic fundamental model community life. And that's all I have to say at this point.
Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah, just briefly defining the legacy of Imam Wali. Just take a couple of steps. One is most times when we think about legacy, we think about the past. but in reality, legacy is past, present, and future. So, to define the legacy of the Imam Wali Muhammad, we take into consideration the past, present, and future, and how he connects with that past, present, and future. And without elaborating, one of the things that kind of come to mind immediately, we're in the presence of just model examples of that. Wali Salahuddin, who's gave us the heritage of Khalid of the life, and then we have Ahmed, and then we have Wazir here, and we have Isa there, and Bayina, and Khalil, how do we get to take your last name first? Hanif. They are also that. They are the past, and the present, and the future. They are also the legacy. They are the legacy. So what Imam Muhammad did, what Imam Muhammad produced, and the produce from the produce that's going to come, all that's the legacy. All that's the legacy. I want to take benefit from the fact that everybody gets according to their predisposition. Some people are more oriented toward governance and politics. Some are more oriented toward education. Some are more oriented toward culture / religion, etc. Some are more oriented toward academics and the like. So, alhamdulillah, to each is a goal to which Allah has turned it, to which He is turned. So, strivers in the race towards all that is good. I love to point out to talk about my feel for the legacy, because it's a very personal thing. I'm saying it's personal for everybody. It's personal for everybody. I'm looking at people who've been around here as long as I have, 40 years, and more. You're here for a reason. Whatever, you're not doing the same thing I'm doing, and I'm not doing the same thing you're doing, but we're still doing what we're doing in light of what we think we're supposed to be doing, right? So it's like, we think we're doing something, right? You don't spend 40, 45 years of your life doing what you don't know. What the hell am I doing, right? I hope not. I hope you have a sense of projection, And so I want to go, I love science, so now I'm getting back to the personal side of it, Alhamdulillah, I love science. No doubt, many of you do too. So this is critical to me to say. Just because somebody said they like something, it don't mean that they the only one that like it, and that's better than everything else that everybody else do, and everybody like what I like. That's a part of our legacy too. That's that leg that needs to be broken. But we'll get to that later. All right. Why is this thing? Oh, people can talk about my shirt. Like my shirt? He said, it's cool, man. These fashionistas over here. Between him and Yahya. No, I've been wearing it all the time. I wear it in California. People say, oh, you're going to Hawaii, huh? Yes. But actually, this is actually made by brother Anthony out of Connecticut. The Heaven and Hell collection. He produced it.
It's typical African.
Is it?
Yeah.
See?
Like in Nigeria, those are the jewelries.
So then you put a medallion in it and you write it home there, right? Alhamdulillah. Shukran jazeelan. Look, so colors. I'm going for the colors, right? Why do these particular colors? Why do these colors show? There are many types of light, right? But there's coherent light, incoherent light, right? When you talk about coherent light, you start talking about, I'm saying, like lasers and things like that. Incoherent light is the light that's in the room. This is just all light. So all spectrum of light is in this room right now. But the colors that we see are because of the chemistry of the material that light is that light is striking, right? So what gives one color is because of the chemistry of the material, and it absorbs that spectrum of light, and that's what you see, right? We say absorb, but it also, and thereby it projects it, it reflects it, right? So Imam Muhammad, he gave us universal knowledge, and I know for some people, this is like this rhetoric, or it's hyperbole, or it's whatever. I mean, it's not. And if you had more time to be patient with the people who know, then you can find, oh, you know what, that's not just rap talk. That's not just rhetoric. It really is. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah, we appreciate the attention that you do give to it. But the point is, Imam Muhammad gave us universal knowledge and access to universal knowledge. I actually equate him with the positive treatment of that statement about Qairun. He said that his keys were a burden to a body of men. They ain't got to the treasure, just carrying the keys to get to the treasure is a burden to the body of men. And that's what I see in what Imam Muhammad has given. He's given us many keys. Many keys. I see Imam Muhammad as that one, what the scripture talks about, I'm going to give you a water after which you will thirst no more. Wallahi, I have no fear, no doubt, no sense of, and the many who share this with me, that there's not a question that I can come up with that I cannot find through the methodology that Imam Muhammad has given us the answer. You know, who we gonna do? Who we gotta go to? No. Answer. Zamzam. I'm giving you ideas. Imam Muhammad is like Zamzam. See, that's y'all problem. Y'all worship Imam. Do you worship Zamzam? I don't worship Zamzam. It's a metaphor. It's an example. It's a model. You know? To speak of that, to speak of these, he's talking about the after sessions that we would have sometime with the Imam. One occasion, hotel, question. I don't even remember the question, I just remember the answer. The Imam says, سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى